Sunday night may have seen Barcelona's lowest league crowd of the season, just 50,000 against Leganés, but I counted more than 100 supporter coaches leaving Camp Nou at midnight. Barca's well-established fan clubs stretch all over Catalonia, and the names of these clubs were proudly shown on the front of the coaches: Penedès, Sitges, Martorell, Manresa. Held back by the police to let the convoy pass, I looked closely at the coaches and saw that most were half-empty. What has led to Barca's crowds dropping off this month, even among their most committed fans? Sunday's crowd followed an even smaller one 3 nights earlier, just 42,838 versus Levante in a cup game they needed to come from behind to win. 5 home games in 22 days doesn't help, nor does the January chill. There are many Spaniards, including legendary player Xavi Hernandez, who think it's absolutely justifiable to stay at home if it's too cold. Plenty agree. Camp Nou is 3/4 uncovered and there was rain on Thursday and Sunday, though not during the game. In England, someone who goes to games in fair weather has a name, but we're not in England. Kick-off times that are switched for television don't help either. Last Thursday night's cup game against Levante kicked off at 9:30 p.m. and finished at 11:20 p.m. Local fans were getting home after midnight, ruling out families. Sunday night's game began at 8:45 p.m., far from ideal and encouraging more to stay away. The best binge watch of 2019 so far is a football documentary. Games are still confirmed too late for those fans traveling from afar, and the football tourist market is a huge one for Barca, one which wasn't helped last season by the attack on La Rambla and the tumult around Catalan independence. Games are, however, regularly switched for TV in England without hitting attendances. Old Trafford and Anfield, the homes of England's 2 biggest clubs, are full for every match, but games are not shifted as much as in Spain and there aren't really late kickoffs. Barca's first home game of the season kicked off at 10:15 p.m., and the crowd was just 52,356. It's no coincidence that Barca's lowest crowd of last season, and the only sub-50,000 one for a league, kicked off at 10 p.m. That time might be palatable for someone watching at home and the Spanish day goes on later than the British, but a 10 p.m. kickoff is still late. It's even worse in Spain's second tier when games can be switched for any time between Friday and Monday night. Barca can still register massive crowds, but Real Madrid's Bernabeu has an average of 63,162 fans for league games this season, which makes an average of 17,000 empty seats. That's significantly down on the 2016-17 average attendance of 72,121 and even 66,336 last season. This isn't a vintage Madrid season, and, as with Barca, there can be a predictable air to home games against lesser clubs. Spain's top 5 have lost only 4 of the 49 games they've played this season. David Luiz is no longer a fantasy football gamble. Madrid being 10 points off Barca and losing Cristiano Ronaldo are factors that might hit the casual football fan market rather than season ticket holders, but they were well behind last season too. And what if you did fancy going to a one-off game? Want to see Barca against lowly Real Valladolid next month? The cheapest ticket is €74 up in the gods, with no reductions for children. The cheapest main stand ticket by the corner flag is €139. Oh, and the kickoff time and date has yet to be confirmed. Sid Lowe, esteemed Spanish football writer for The Guardian and ESPN, tried to get a ticket for his young son for the Madrid vs Sevilla game at the weekend. There was nothing available below €65 despite 12,000 seats lying empty in the Bernabeu. Something isn't working, though there are cultural differences. Spain is a huge football country, but Catalans have argued with me that they have other things to do with their time: a richer cultural life, the beach in the summer and the mountains in the winter. Football isn't the be-all and end-all like it might be in England's north. Spain is missing a trick with away fans too. I can't understand why huge football clubs have such poor away followings, and there are exceptions to this, but then it's partly cultural and partly geographic. Barcelona to Vigo is 11 hours by train, and if you've never traveled away, why start? The few away fans are also often an afterthought, overcharged and tucked up in the nosebleed seats at the top of the Mestalla, Camp Nou or the Bernabeu. England's Premier League finally realized the importance of away fans, and ticket prices were cut, in some cases by more than 100%, uncapped at £30 for an adult. It's excellent value. It's a shame in Spain, since away fans really can add to the atmosphere, but how would a Leganés, a small, successful club from Madrid with 10,000 average crowds, fan have got home from Camp Nou on Sunday night? The game started so late that the last train back to Madrid had already left, and a 600 kilometers drive would have taken 6 hours, minimum. United fans getting back to Manchester before 2 a.m. this Saturday morning after playing Arsenal in the Cup on Friday have got it relatively easy. Manchester United fans fury at Arsenal over their FA Cup ticket allocation. The football culture difference is shown by the fact that the biggest away following at Camp Nou this season, and by a distance, has been the 6,000 Tottenham fans who saw their team play so well in December. There's also a warming up of the season in Spain, literally. The tourists return with the warmer weather and those huge Champions League nights when it seems like the world of football descends on Barcelona. 97,183 watching Barça vs Chelsea last season. Being there is always better, but Barça and Madrid can't be complacent in a world where they're now in competition with consumers owning giant high-definition televisions. Both stadiums need modernization, both have extensive planned developments. The tired Camp Nou, the biggest stadium in the world in regular use as a football stadium, seats 99,354 and is being expanded to hold 105,000. The plans loom incredible, as they have for a decade. Crowds are actually up across the board in La Liga, and clubs such as Atletico Madrid and Real Betis have enjoyed attendance surges in recent years. La Liga is also marketing itself very well globally, in arms race for television eyeballs with the Premier League. The football is brilliant, but they mustn't forget that the fans who actually attend the matches add to the spectacle greatly, especially at the two flagship clubs. Now read, Football Tourism, The Good, The Bad and The Messiah Now Genio on why he left Barcelona's 10 best football badges in the world, and the stories behind them.